Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jails. We'll talk today about Paul Sykes. A lot of controversy about this man. I mean, it's been a long time since he died. And by the way, Paul Sykes died as a penniless tramp. Despite the fact that he was a go-get-em kind of big physical bully boy fellow, he died without a bean. And two of his sons managed to get themselves locked up for murder. They're serving life sentences for murder. So what a fine example he was to them. I'll talk a little bit about Paul Sykes because I met him a number of times when he was in prison, specifically at HMP Manchester, which was at the time called Strangeways. Yeah, I've previously sung you the song Strangeways Hotel, haven't I, by Mike Harding, yeah. There's no place on earth like the Strangeways Hotel. Well, in there was Paul Sykes, and his mate at the time was DS. I won't give you his name, but his initials were DS. You in the know who I'm talking about. Big drug dealer. And together they had a little team, and they were grooming little younger inmates. Not boys, because I put a stop to that by moving DS off the YP wing, where he'd managed to get himself. At the age of about 35 he was at the time, and I relocated him back in the adult wing because he wasn't allowed to work on the YP wing because he was an adult, and it's an offence under the Prison Act, 1953 Prison Act. And he'd managed, I don't know if he'd bribed somebody, he probably had, because the principal officer that placed him there was extremely angry when I moved DS off his wing. But you can't allow that, can you? I mean, people said I could have been a little bit more diplomatic about it, but hey, I was a jailer. I wasn't a diplomat. I was doing a job, a very dangerous job at times too, if you did it properly. Yeah, it'd be all right if you were a bent bastard, but I wasn't. Anyway, let me get round to talking about Paul Sykes. Yeah, he was 6'4", and he was about 16 stone, 17 stone. Big fella. And him and his mate DS used to groom younger boys, younger men, prisoners about the age of 22, 23, naive, first time in prison, and they think that this big Paul Sykes, he's going to protect me, yeah, going to protect you, all right. And there's a lot of people on here have been saying, well, they never heard about that. Of course they don't. I mean, it's not something that people who have been molested, and very often, because if people who are doing the grooming, do it right, the victim thinks that they're just, this guy really has affection for me, and this is just his way of showing affection. Well, I've got a lot of affection for people. I tend not to remove their underpants, They can stay on for me anyway, but not for the likes of Paul Sykes. It was underpants off and bend over. Listen, Jamie Boyle's done a number of books on them, and I believe you should read them books because it gives you a good insight into it. I mean, Paul Sykes once talked about swimming the Straits of Johor, yeah? And he said that a shark came up to him and he hit it, I think in the nose, on the side of the head, and the shark swam away. My experience of what I know about sharks ain't quite like that. They come underneath you, and take your legs off. Not swim alongside you for a little boxing match. No. If you remember Paul Sykes when he fought John L. Gardner for the heavyweight championship of Great Britain, John L. Gardner gave him a serious boxing lesson. And you could see it in, the fight's there on YouTube, go and watch it. Type in Paul Sykes v John L. Gardner, yeah, and watch that video, yeah. John L. Gardner gives him a lesson, yeah. John L. Gardner wasn't just going in and bashing people, he actually knew how to box. Paul Sykes knew how to box a little bit, but compared to Gardner it wasn't a lot. And you could see that by the end of I think it's the 6th round, Sykes had quite obviously had enough. He didn't like the fact that he was getting bashed about. And in Strangeways, he was throwing his weight around and trying to intimidate staff. Managed to get himself on the wrong side of the team, head down onto the landing, and they sent for the staff, the hospital staff. I was the hospital officer, to go and get the stranger and quieten him down a little bit. And after that, he was all right. But Sykes was on medication all the time when he was in Strangeways. Well, he was after he got on the wrong side of the likes of Bootsy and the Black Dog and all that. That's the name of the staff that were working on the block, you know. What's the other guy called? What was he called? The Chinese monkey puzzle. Oh, Chinese money box. That's it. Yeah. How he got that name, I don't know. I think it was because when he was in a grappling thing, he twisted people's arms up the back so they looked like a Chinese puzzle. That's my theory on it, anyway. I'm not that mad as to ask him. But but Bootsy and the Black Dog, they'd sort them out. Yeah, Piggy was there as well. He was a big handy lad. I believe that Bootsy's still around, actually. Very nice man, Bootsy. I liked him a lot. Seriously, I did. I had a frozen shoulder once. I've suffered from this for a long time, on and off, you know. It's a terrible pain. And I had this terrible frozen shoulder in Strangeways one evening. I said to Bootsy, I know it's unlikely that you do this. Would you hit me right in the shoulder here? I said, because I've got a terrible trapped nerve or something. And he did it. He knocked me from one side of the landing to the other. But I tell you what, she with my short frozen shoulder didn't hurt. I mean, listen, when you've been booted around the back streets of Wigan since you were 9 years old, you know, and you've been boxing and all the rest of it, and throwing people out of nightclubs, because I used to do the doors in the nightclubs. A little smack in the nose or a thump on it don't hurt. You'd be surprised. You know, I suppose you get older, you know, you get whacked then. I mean, I haven't been whacked for a bit, you know. I intend not to be whacked, thank you very much. So all you volunteers out there, are not for me. But anyway, I'm trying to tell you about Paul Sykes. So a lot of people on here are saying, I've never heard that about Paul Sykes. So listen, if you're watching this now, I'm talking about Paul Sykes. You've experienced him being abused by this man in prison. No names, no pack drill. Write me here in the comments and tell me about what happened to you. A number of people have written. They've said that they were abused by Paul Sykes. Believe me, I know that he tried to come the big tough guy with the staff at Strangeways. Well, it's a death wish, that. And I've seen people who got the wish granted, yeah. And listen, go and look this guy up. George Wilkinson, yeah. Now, he was really big. He was about 6'7", something like that. And probably about 19, 20 stone. You know, the kind of guy who'd get one hand, grip hold of you and lift you off the floor. He was enormous. He ended up down the block at Strangeways, because he kicked off on the landings, you know, trying to bully people around. And George Wilkinson ended up on the block at Strangeways. He eventually got transferred to Liverpool, and the next morning they found him in his cell. He had expired. Seriously. And I mean, when I saw Wilkinson, he was round the bend, you know, he was drinking water all the time, standing in a bowl of water, stark naked, standing in a bowl of water, drinking water all the time. Try to say to him, don't do this, you know, you're going to hurt yourself, you'll damage your kidneys, you know. I was a nursing officer, you see. So I did tell him not to do this. And the doctors told him. But you wouldn't want to get too close to him, because if you did, he'd definitely try and grab hold of you. That's why he was down the block. But anyway, as I said, if you've got any experience of meeting or encountering and being abused by Paul Sykes, do put it in the comments here, and I'll discuss it. And we can discuss it anyway on my next live Q&A, which will be the first Tuesday in October. And I'm going to put my jukebox on for the first 15 minutes. So I'll go live at 6:45. It'll be jukebox time. And then after that, at 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock, we'll have a Q&A. We've done it before. It's quite a bit of fun, actually. I think so. Anyway, now it's time for, yes, you've got it. It's the Song Dinger. Yeah, but I'm going to read you a poem first. Do you like my poems? Do you like my poems? Anybody? Anyway, it's in my book here. Flowers and Collected Poems by John G. Sutton. Yeah, this is a poem called Are We Bothering? Are we bothering? It's a phrase, a Lancashire phrase, Used to get it, it goes back to the 50s, really, and the 60s, You get the woman saying to the bloke, are we bothering? It means, are we going to be making love this evening? Are we going to have a sexual encounter? So I say, are we bothering? That's it, you see. So this poem is called Are We Bothering? Yeah. By John G. Sutton, by the way, that's me. I've been wedded over 40 years to the same woman, my wife. You'll notice I'm reading it in a Lancashire accent. Yeah. I'll start again. I've been wedded over 40 years to the same woman, my wife. She calls me not fit for burn, but her still is in my life. Her cooks me grubs and washes clothes. She makes our home reek gradely. But when it comes to making love, her answer's allus, aye, maybe. These days, I get no leg over. She doesn't want to know. Her looks at me as if I'm daft when I reaches out my paw. And if I asked her, are we bothering? Answers allus, no. I'm getting reet frustrated, living like a monk, and her, she sits and knits away, so I goes and gets reet drunk. But to the night I get a fright, I just get home from pub. Her pulls me out flat hat off, and me backs she starts to rub. By gum, thou looks a proper mon, she whispers in me ear. I'm thinking, hey, hold on a bit, I'm fairly full of beer. But Mrs. was unstoppable. She soon had me upsteer. Ripped off me corduroy undies, and never said a prayer. That were best seeing to I'd had in nigh on 20 year. And what was it that stirred her up to make her love and want me? Instead of sitting nicking socks, she'd been watching Full Monty. Now every night I'm down the pub, on blue movies she's wallowing. Her knit one pearl two's been forgot, and her cry is, are we bothering? There you go. Are we bothering? And now, yes, I'm going to torture you all because you've deserved it. You've lasted this long. So here we go with a song that was made famous by Patsy Cline, but was also used by, what's his name? Tyson Fury at one of his shows when he got carried in dressed as a bloody king. Yeah. King, yeah. And he was singing this song. So I'm going to destroy it so it'll never be the same again. You'll never hear this song again and think, Tyson Fury or Patsy Cline? No, you're going to think, it's that bastard maniac Sutton. Here we go. Crazy. Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you loved me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry, why do I let myself worry? Wondering, what in the world did I do? Oh, crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying. I'm crazy for crying. And I'm crazy for loving you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, see me on the sick parade tomorrow morning. God save the King. Yeah, they're making a thing of this, aren't they now? Queen Elizabeth did her duty. Wonderful lady. We'll speak soon. Don't forget